Michael Massa. Unveiling the African Cosmology, Insights from B.A. Congo Religion. I think we are always happy when we give our teachings. That's why today we are going to continue with the second part of Kinkolo_Kido, which means our history. I think I was clear when I said how the creation, Kinsami, started, but today we are in the second part. To all the brothers and sisters, the real fighters, the real resistors, the Bantu Israelites of good heart who want the liberation of the country, I think I said that there will be teachings from time to time, and I told you that we will start with the creation, how things started, so that everyone is aware of how things are. We have seen how all things started, when this gigantic ball that we call today Pananza or planet were created, and today we are going to talk about the planet in which we live, the planet that we call the Earth, Pananzantoto. So as I said, the planet Earth, for those who do not know, we are here to explain. According to the B.A. Congo religion, the planet Earth is called Mpiv Ya Tata and Zambi Ya Mpungu. This means that if we go to the beginning of all things, God has always existed. But if we start talking about our galaxy, we see that before the creation of our galaxy, there were already other galaxies. God is a spirit that manifests itself in many things, so in many things, that means that through the Spirit of God, the Spirit of the Son appeared. So the Spirit is what is going to manifest itself, which is going to make the matter come out, because the Son is a material which was manifested by the Spirit of God. Eni Mbumbaloa is the Spirit of God that has manifested itself now in the Son. So it is from the Spirit of the gods that the Son appeared, because the Son is only a material and the Spirit of God was manifested to make the Son appear. There is a fire birth, the fire of the seed. When it was made manifest, there was the birth of the Pananza that we call the planets. So the planets are the derivatives of this fire of the Sun. For the planets to appear, there were sparks that came out, and from these sparks, the planets were born, as we said in the previous video, and among those born from the sky there is the moon. But know that the moon was also Mpiv, spirit, that we call Mamanganda, just like Northeast Mbumbaloa, who is the spirit that manifested itself to the sun. This is how the moon appeared straight from the sun. It is after having come out that the moon will begin to turn around the earth, and when it sees the face of the sun it will be day, and when it turns by seeing the sun in its face it will be night. So that's how night and day came to be. But we have heard from other people who have done research, and they said that there would be waters above and waters below, but in the Bukongo religion, there are no waters above and there are no waters below. There is no such statement, because if we look at the oceans have a blue color. The blue color that you see in the waters is not the blue color, but it is the reflection of any Congo Kaluma. It is just the reflection, so the blue that you see when you say, the sky is blue, is not the blue color. The blue of the waters and the sky is the reflection of any Congo Kalunga, which means, God of love. In the blue of the sky, you do not see the clouds but the infinite. So when you look at the sky, if you go beyond the clouds, there is a void. It means that it goes to infinity, so all that we see, the emptiness that we see in the skies, just means that there is a God of love, a God creator of all things who is omnipresent. He is everywhere in the universe, He is everywhere in the cosmos, the galaxies, and everything that exists in the whole universe, so God exists in the whole universe. And it is in this universe where we are going to find our ancestor Eni Nzalampandu and his wife Yaya and Kenjlafuma, from where they came from, a star somewhere in the universe called the star Kakongo. You can of course hear him on this song that is playing now, saying that they came together with his wife from the star called Kakongo. When we say things, there are of course explanations that we give, because when we say Eni Nzalampanyu, that Eni means honorable. When we say Eni Mwandan Semi, it means honorable Mwandan Semi, and Nzala means to fill, and Pandu means sacred knowledge, so his name means filled with sacred knowledge. We had heard other people say that it is Eni Nzalampanda, which means the ring that is put in the hand at the wedding, ring finger, but it is rather Northeast Nzalampanda name that came from a star located in a distant galaxy, and he came to this planet with a very great knowledge. He then descended with this knowledge so that they come to give it here to the earth, so that the earthlings can benefit from this knowledge. Know that before they came to live on this earth, there were people who lived, but they were not really intelligent. they were stupid reason why Eni Nzalim Pandu came with his wife to transmit this knowledge to the inhabitants. And he had come with his wife Yaya Nkenj Lufuma, which Nkenj means extreme beauty, and Lufuma means source, so its name means, the source of extreme beauty, having come from very far because the star Kakongo is really very far from us. They had come in the form of a big ball of fire. And this fireball had the power to appear and disappear when they wanted. So this fireball made its way from the planet Kakongo to Ethiopia. When they arrived in Ethiopia, together they had 12 children. When they arrived, they were only spirits, so they had to have a human appearance, so they had to have a body envelope like all humans, like all inhabitants of the earth. That is why they had the human appearance and gave birth to 12 children. In short, they went down to Africa, more precisely to Ethiopia, where they had 12 children. Nzalim Pandu named Africa Congo Dia Katiopa. Katiopa means the land of the sun. I think that when you look at Africa, you will see that it is in front of the sun. Then he named the world Congo Dia Nyanza and gave the name of Congo Dia Mbumba to the universe, and if we go back, we see that the moon, when it came out of the sun, it also had children. To see her children, it is enough to see the trees, the animals, in short all these beings are the children of the moon. And when Eni Nzalim Pandu arrived in company of his beautiful wife, they spoke the language of the star Kakongo, thus the Kakongo. The birth of these 12 children, they gave the names of their children in their language. The first son, they called him and the house, the second son they called him and the gardens, the third son, and the believers, after and this, after and the thing, after with the gift, after on the mountain, after and the Kanioka, after and the cook, after and the houses, after by name, and finally I did. So these are the 12 children of Northeast Nzalim Pandu and his wife Nkenj Lufuma. Afterwards, the children of Northeast Nzalim Pandu married the children of Tammuz, who are called the children of Tamil. And so their offspring began to multiply. But the prophecy says that only the firstborn will inherit the power, that is to say the children of Na Lukengo are the promised children. So we can see that Africans, whether Senegalese, Nigerians, Ivorians, in short the black people are all descendants of the 12 children of Northeast Nzalim Pandu, so we are all children of Northeast Nzalim Pandu. We are not the children of Adam and Eve, but we are the children of black people who came from the star Kakongo. So there you have it, our story we have to tell ourselves. It is not up to a certain Diego Chow to tell us our own story and tell us that we are the children of Adam and Eve. So it is up to us to tell them that we are the children of Northeast Nzalim Pandu and his wife Yaya Nkenj Lufuma, and to them to tell us that they are the children of Adam and Eve. So here is a bit, our history is ours to tell and nobody else's, it is ours to say how God created the world and how the world works. So it is up to Mfumu Eni Mwanda Nsemi to go and collect the stories where he goes and tell them to us as it is the truth here in the Bukongo religion. If they are part of the people who were created here, we are descendants of Eni Nzalim Pandu and his wife Yaya Nkenj Lufuma because they gave birth to 12 children and these 12 children are our ancestors. After that, it was time for them to go back to where they came from, therefore to go back to the star Kakongo. But before leaving, they left their firstborn a legacy in the form of a black sacred stone, although many people say that when they had their 12 children, they turned into a tree. But this is not true because they were rather spread out in their star, the Kakongo star. And when I called on my parents, although they were gone, they left me the power, they gave me a scepter, they left a great inheritance to his first son Na Lukengo, and this inheritance is science and consciousness, the attributes of gods which are intelligence, power and wisdom. These are the three elements that will be transmitted to the first son. The eldest son of Na Lukengo was called Nkulun Semi. Among the Semites he is called the Black Semite, but it is rather Nkulun Semi in his turn. Nkulun Semi had as a son Nkulu Masamuna in his turn. Nkulu Masamuna had as a son Nkulu Mamona in his turn. Nkulu Mamona had as a son Eni Makiba Yulu. In his turn, Eni Mayinda Mayalu had as a son Eni Mbuma Nimi in his turn. Eni Mbuma Nimi had as a son Eni Makongo Manamai in the 9th generation. Eni Makongo Manamai had as eldest daughter Yaya Nkenj Mupata. her other name is not Yaya Mankiba Saba but Yaya Mandam Saba because Yaya Mankiba Saba is the name of Queen of the Sabbath. And to give birth to any Zulu Makiba, Yaya Nkenj Mapata became pregnant by the Holy Spirit. She became pregnant without sleeping with a man, without having any sexual relations with a man. This is the will of God, and God does what he wants to do. Before Yaya Nkenj Mapata could give birth to any Zulu Makiba, there was a great flood. In the history of the others, they also speak about the flood, but we do not speak about this flood, but we speak about the flood which took place in Ethiopia. Therefore, in order not to suffer the consequences of this flood, it was advisable to go up a little higher, near Egypt, in order not to perish in the flood. And of course those who remained in that region perished. And any Zulu Makiba in his turn gave birth to any Congo Nimi, and it is in this generation that we are. We are in the generation of Northeast Congo Nimi, and any Congo Nimi married Mama Ngunu, and together they had as sons, Nkulansaku, Nkulampanzu and Yaya Nzinga. So basically we have 12 sons of Eni Nzalampandu and 12 generations that descend directly from the firstborn of Eni Nzalampandu called Ene Lukengo. And then we who are of the generation of Northeast Congo Nimi, whose association of these 3 children gives what is called today Bududya Congo. So that is to say that all the black people come from this 3 groups of the children of Congo Nimi, and that we all Africans will be part of Bududya Congo. That is why you will see that any Congo Kalunga was reincarnated in Nkulansaku, and he gave him all the intelligence on religion. Mboma Loa incarnated in Nkulampanzu to give him the intelligence of creation, and finally Eni Mpumbu, who is represented by the red color, incarnated in Yaya Nzinga to give him the political power and the governance, because it is the politics that governs here on earth. And we will see later that Nkulansaku had 7 children, Nkulampanzu had 4 children and Yaya Nzinga had 12 children. And all these children were born in Ethiopia. And they will then go to Egypt to create the universities as well as the higher institutes. So other people who did not have science and consciousness could learn in the universities and higher institutes that were there. This time was 4,300 years ago. These 4,300 years is before the age of the fishes, because many say, before Jesus, when in reality Jesus was not even born. So as far as our timeline is concerned, we use the timeline that was taught to us by the people who came from the star Kakongo. And when we see in the next teachings, we will study our timeline. But for today we stop here. So we came out of Egypt more than 4,000 years ago, and after 4,000 years we are going to arrive at the time of Capricorn. And to know what will happen during this era, we will devote a whole day to it. We will also see how the future has influences on our present, because this world is really complicated. You have to be an initiate to know how the world works and how the Mahaba make this world turn. During the 3rd video, we will see how the children of Congo Nimi went to Egypt, how they built these universities, etc. Thank you to all those who followed this video. Thank you to those who follow BDK's teachings, because the truth will only come from a black brother who has had revelations and who has been in the spiritual world to see what has happened and what will happen. So, to continue to follow these teachings, go to YouTube, type in Michael Massa.